Alright, what's up? Now live, first live video I'm doing on YouTube. And Divine here, Nick. I usually do live videos on Instagram. But Instagram has been acting up. So I'm coming over here to YouTube, plus you'll be able to get to watch the videos. Looks like I'm having problems with my connection, so hopefully this all works out. Looks like I got somebody in here already. I do not see... Let me see, show the live chat. Alright. Alright, so this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a groove staggerton or a groove frame staple. And this is basically what it is. Sorry, I don't know what's going on right now. Hopefully it'll all work out. Either way, it's still recording and it'll be able to play, so this is a groove fused Clapton, or a groove fused frame staple, I'm sorry. So a regular frame staple looks like this. It's got your ribbon and your frames in there, and it's just completely wrapped over with Clapton. A staggerton looks like this. You actually have to stagger the middle wire and then fuse it all together. But a groove fused, you Clapton all the staple, the middle wire, you completely Clapton it with no spaces, and then you just fall in the grooves with a bigger wire, with a smaller wire. So there's 36 Clapton on the middle core, and then there's 42 just falling in the gaps there. Alright. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Oh. 36 to wrap them cores first, and then for the groove fuse for the small wire that's going to fall in there, I'm going to use 42. So when you do a groove fuse, what you want to do, you Clapton, what's up, Brad? You want to Clapton the inner cores with something a little bigger. What you want to aim for is, it doesn't always have to be 36, but what you want to aim for is an 8 gauge jump. So 42 is 8 gauges smaller than 36. So if you wanted to do, if you have 40 gauge, go at 38 and 40. Or you could do, or I'm sorry, that would be 38 and 44. I'm sorry, 38 and 44. It would be 34 and 40. It would be 40 and 46. So that's what you want to aim for. You can do 36 and 44. You could do 36 and 46. You could do even 36 and 40. But the 8 gauge jump is really what you want to look for. The smaller the wire, the easier it's going to get in there. But also the smaller the wire, the more likely it could break. So First, we got to make a ribbon stack. The tools I usually use for my ribbon stack, I always have ceramic tweezers with me. I always have a bottle of water. Water's optional. I've started to like to use water to hold my ribbon stacks together. So I get a little cap, I fill it up with some water, and just leave it to the side here. And I also will need either 40, 38, or 36. I like using 40. So what I do is I get a piece of 40. I get a piece of 40 gauge. I pull it out at about a foot. And I just cut it at that foot. Alright, and I just put that to the side. I'll need that in a minute. And then hot glue is also optional. I highly recommend hot glue. The hot glue and the water I recommend. So I use hot glue and a lighter. I'm going to go close up when it's needed. For now, I'm just going to keep the view like this. So you guys can see me stack it. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to aim for 2 coils. I almost always aim for 2 coils. Alright. And groove fused, on a level of how hard are they? How hard or easy are they? They're harder than a frame staple, but they're easier than a staggerton. So it's almost like a cheat code for a staggerton, really. Because you don't have to space your ribbon wires. You could just do a nice tight Clapton on your ribbon wires and fall in them gaps. So it looks like my YouTube has cleared up a little bit. It was giving me bad connection signals like crazy, but looks like all is good. If you're in the chat, I know Brad was here. If you're in the chat, can you just tell me all is good over there? Awesome, Brad. Thank you. Alright. So now I'm going to get my 0.4. I'm going to roll it out at a little over 16 inches. So when I fold it over, I have a little bit more than 8 inches. Because what I do with my ribbon stacks is I fold them so I can make a loop with my swivel. Well, I guess they're gonna have to look harder. You found it. I mean, it's obviously up if there's 2 people here watching. What's up, Dan? I gotta get my better needle noses. Yeah, I can't really just hop out of here and talk to them, so. Yeah, I mean, if you and Danny found it, it's possible. So what I'm shooting for here is an 8-ply staple in the middle. So basically, I need to cut 4 pieces, a little over 16 inches. I do like 18 inches. I like to have like 2 inches to play with. So I need to start off with 4 pieces at around 18 inches of 0.4 ribbon. I give it a little tug to straighten it out. If your ribbon's already straight, you don't need that. This pure atomist is pretty straight, but I stretched it out anyway. No big deal. Now it's just super straight. When you stretch out ribbon though, it does make it a little smaller. It doesn't make it like 0.3, but it makes it like 0.35 or something. Yeah, Dan, I hope everything works out, man. So anybody who's watching this video that hasn't watched my live videos on Instagram, I have a select couple of guys that just religiously always hang out with me over there, and they'll be over here in the chat, so hopefully everything goes as well as it did over there, and it all works out. Alright, so I grab my ribbon on the end here, make them flush, I run my fingers down to this end, bring both sides together, and I make my 4 loops here. I give it a little pull, then I get both fingers down here, both hands down here rather. I give it a pinch. Yeah, dude, Dan, if you spread the word, can you tell them that if they go to my Facebook, there's a link? There's a link right in my Facebook. I shared it. A link to this video, not just to my, whatchamacallit. Not just to my page. Cool. Alright. So basically what I do is I work on this loop. I get this loop how I want it. I get them all stacked evenly. Get all my ribbons standing up. Once I got it where I want it, I grab that 40 gauge that I cut a little bit ago, that 1 foot that I cut, and I put 10 wraps in here. First I do 5. I grab my ceramic tweezers, give it a little pinch both ways, get that stack nice and tight, and then I do 5 more wraps with that 40 gauge. Once again, you could use 38 or 36. I wouldn't suggest any other gauges besides M3. 40's my favorite. 38 works very well too. 40's my favorite though. Alright. Thanks, Dan. So I think I labeled this video groove fused stags, coil builds, and n.devine83. So as long as everything goes well, I'll leave the video up. If it doesn't go so well, I'm probably going to take it down after a week. But groove fused, I should be able to knock this out. And if I do knock it out, this video isn't going to drag out. I would actually probably think of something else. If anything, if this goes well and the time's good, I'm probably going to just close this video down, get it uploaded, and then start another video. I'm not going to put 2 coil builds on each video. People get turned off by very long videos, so if I could keep this at around an hour, that would be awesome. So I just dab my fingers in the water, and I'm running my fingers down this ribbon a bit. And what that's doing is the water is almost gluing the ribbon together. and making it one straight piece. Alright. There's one kind of swaying off of there, but I'm going to take care of that now. So I got my 8 pieces of ribbon. Alright. I take my thumb and index finger, I pinch up at the loop, grab the loop, pull down at about 1.5 inches. I grab my 40 gauge again. I put 5 wraps in it. Now, this is something that I do differently than most people, I think. Lots of people say they like it. I cut the one side of the 40 off, but leave the other side on. Yeah, I never had Master of Clouds ribbon, but I could imagine that it's not that great. So now I pinch this 40, drag it down. So I don't know who watched, I was on Fresh last night, and I mentioned when you're starting off building, don't buy the expensive wire. I probably should have mentioned that don't buy the expensive wire, but ribbon, it's kind of important to get good ribbon if you want to get nice clean builds. This isn't full screen, huh? Let me see something. Not even if you turn sideways? Because I was trying to... I did try to turn my phone over. The last time I turned my phone over, it told me to rotate my phone. So right now you can't see my whole table, huh? You can't see from there to there. It's just small. You can see it, it's just small. Huh. I'm looking at it, I don't see what I could really do about it though. And that's just like flipped around, right? That didn't help any. What's up, Mark? Oh, yeah, it's probably because you're chatting. No, Dan? Tell me how that is. I just shut my chat off. Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to see how that is because I shut my chat off. So don't say anything else besides what the screen looks like. I shut my chat off. So tell me, I'll turn my chat back on and see what you guys say. Alright, turn my chat back on. Say something so I could. Sideways, what's up, Andrew? Sideways. Yeah, the chat's not affecting my screen size neither. It just goes right over it. My hands are coming in from the right. Okay. So basically, I kind of have to do this. So this should be probably straight up, right? Maybe I'm just too close and that's the problem. So does this look like a point of view kind of thing? It's probably going to be smaller, but is this at least the right angle? Alright, it's straight now. Okay, cool. So if it's a smaller screen, it's probably because we're live. So after we go off live, it should probably change. Also, if you close down your chat, I know that's how it works on Fresh, is if I put my chat open, I see a different screen than if my chat's closed. Yeah, I don't hit nothing. I'm full screen all the time. And the words just go over my screen. And there is nothing to make it full. I could do like filters and stuff. We were talking about this last night. There's some bubbles. I could do dance party. I could do dream. Ooh. It's like you're on acid or something, or somebody just slipped you a date rape drug. Glamour. Those bubbles. I can't like pop them or anything. That's corny. They should let me pop them. Alright, let's get back to it. Yeah, them bubbles did get trashed last night. He said that too when we were about to get on. He's like, guys, I need to go over something with bubbles on vape videos, so I don't know, maybe I'll knock it out in the beginning. We're like, what? Bubbles in vape videos? He's like, yeah, do you guys think there should be bubbles in vape videos? I don't know. I don't know. Should there be bubbles in vape videos? So we'll go over it. He kind of just took over the show and put the guy's video on. Fresh was talking too, and Raven was just like, yeah. So bubbles. Let's talk about bubbles. Yeah, only if you're washing your coils, bubble shots are good. So I just put a dab of hot glue on the end of my wire there. Then I run my fingers down to the end. Actually, I'm going to get some more water, kind of dried off as I was playing with bubbles and shit. Get this nice straight in one piece. Flip it over. You can have a chat in a pop-out window. Yeah, see, this YouTube thing, I'm sure there's so much other stuff I could do. And I just don't know how yet. So it's definitely going to be a learning experience for me. Yeah, it doesn't look like how, like, you know, I've been on live videos before. Not only Fresh's, I've been on live videos, and my chat looks completely different than other chats that I've been on. It might be the camera view I'm using. I wonder if I flipped it around if it would be different. So then I hot glue that end. So now I got a straight piece of ribbon here. 8 pieces, bind it together, all glued up. Looks like one straight piece, nice and tight together. Now I use a swivel all the time. If you don't use a swivel, I would suggest starting to. I use my USO meters, spin LT. I am going to have videos for beginners on how to get started without swivels. So there will be that, but when you're doing these builds that I'm doing, the way I do it, I use a swivel. There's lots of builders out there that don't use a swivel, and I don't know if that makes them better or not. I don't really care. I know that I use a swivel. It just makes better sense to me. There's plenty other skills I've picked up even using a swivel that I don't feel no kind of way about using it. So, that said, this would actually be the easiest build, this part, to not use a swivel. You can absolutely wrap up a staple coil with no swivel and 36 gauge. I have done that. I used to build without a swivel, and that was definitely a build I could accomplish. But we've evolved, so I get the ribbon wire on my swivel, get the other end of my drill, and I think I'm going to lose this. It's going to be easier to see, I believe, if I lose that thing. Yeah, alright. Then I'm going to get my 36. Now what you're trying to accomplish with this is basically just a staple wire, 36, tight wrap all the way down, no spaces. You actually want to really avoid spaces. You want that shit tight. The tightest you could get it is what you want. So let me just make sure when I spin my drill, everything... Actually, I know I need to change my battery. Alright, so now let me make sure when I spin my drill that everything spins properly. You want to make sure you're centered in your drill and your swivel spinning properly. Looking good. Alright, all the staples stayed stacked very nicely. Let me pop a vape. Using my Goon 1.5 cap on an OG black Goon, because the build I have on my 1.5 I'm still taking pictures of, and vaping the zest. It's like a lemon meringue. Very good. Great for summertime. I got some I actually got that Suka build in here. I'm not impressed. I'm not really a big fan of Sukas. I gave it another chance. They're alright. They're probably definitely the best Sukas I've ever made that vape. But I'm not a fan of them. I'm glad I didn't put them in my 1.5. I always talk about how Suka builds are just one of them builds. They look awesome. One of the coolest looking coils, just like Mohawks, but you're not going to get an amazing vape out of them. They look better than they vape. But they're fun to make. They look cool. When you're taking pictures of your coils, they're awesome. I got a new spool here. Just got to get it open. Twisting ain't working. Alright. So 36. How I start this is I hand wrap in the forward motion up near my drill just to get my 36 anchored in there. Do about 7 wraps, cut that flush. Start my Clapton in slowly. Make sure all my staples are stacked. Sometimes in the beginning, you gotta do one of these just to make sure everything's stacked properly. Sometimes some of the staples like kind of jump up and down. So if you start off slow and just stack them like that, get a good wrap. Check it out now. Everything looks pretty good. So it looks like as long as I keep pressure backward with my drill and good pressure on my 36. Keep that 90-degree angle. Back up if you mess up. Go forward again. Alright. Fully went down that. Nice and straight. Nice and tight. So now what we got here, I'm going to go close up and show you guys what I have. So I'm using 0.4 ribbon. Ribbon measures 0.4 by 0.1. So now I got a square that is 4 by 8. The goal is to have these ribbons standing up. So the 0.8 is the flat side and the 0.4 is where I'm going to put my frames. So my frames are going to go on the 0.4 side, so you're going to see 28, 8, and then 28. 28, 8 ply, 28. That's the way you're going to stack this. You want them stacks to be pointing up on the 0.1 side. You're not going to see it, but that's what it's going to be like on the inside. So, oh, I don't have my light on. Alright, so there's my loop. That was what was in the swivel. There's my 8 pieces of ribbon. And this is my staple. Just tight clapped, and that's what you want. This is basically just a staple coil. You could wrap this up and get a good vape out of this too. Alright. Going down the wire, just a nice tight Clapton. It's good to have a macro lens to check this stuff. So I got about 9 inches. All I need is like 8, and this is what was in my drill. Alright. Alright. Yeah, I was looking for the hearts. I was like, oh, I'm not getting no hearts. On Instagram, them hearts would have been flying. But Instagram's fucking up, son. It's fucking up. Alright. So now I gotta put the frames on and wrap this up. It looks like I should be able to keep this video at around an hour, which would be awesome. I'd love to shoot for all my videos to be around an hour, hour and a half, depending on the build. I don't want to turn people off by extremely long videos. So, I need my 28 frames. You could use 28, you could, in theory, you could use 26, 28, 30. 28 I think is your best bet. 26 is, it's going to sit a bit high, so it's going to be a little harder to get into them grooves, since the 26 sits almost as high as 0.4, but this also has 36 on it, so it is sitting a little higher. 26 and 0.4 are practically the same height. Alright, so I get a piece of 28, I measure it out that length, take my fingers down, pull it out another length, and add a little more. Give it a little tug to make it straight. Cut off. Get my 28 put back. Alright. I grab my 28 by both ends, just like I did my staple wires. Make a loop here, just like I did the staple wire, same exact thing. I'm going to go down the end, cut this nasty bit off. Get my 28 in my loop. Get them together. I just get that 28 right over that loop, so when I put this on my swivel, it grabs tension on both of them. So the 28 directly over the ribbon loop. Once I got it where I want it, I'm going to grab my 40 gauge and wrap it up. wrap it 5 times. Grab my ceramic tweezers or nylon pliers, whatever you got. Make sure it's all flattened out and wrap it a couple more times. Cut that 40 off. Run my fingers down. Make sure everything's going to line up going down here. Come down 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Grab your 40, wrap it up. Just do about 5 or 6 wraps. Cut it off, leave a little bit so you can unwrap it later. Slide down another 2 inches. Grab your 40, wrap it up. 5 or 6 wraps. Cut it off, leaving a little hang off so you can unwrap it later. Slide your fingers down, make sure everything's lining up. I'll show you what this looks like after I prep it before I wrap it up. Hopefully I'll be able to get the camera set up to where we can see a macro shot of me wrapping it. Alright. So I got 3 binds in there. Then I come down to the end. Make sure everything's lined up. At the very end where I'm going to go into the drill, I need a little more 40. Actually, I got 36 right here, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to wrap it. Make sure everything stays straight. This part's pretty important. Right where it goes into the drill, because that's the first thing you're going to be wrapping with the 42. Getting all flattened out. Cut the 36 off. Then I like to bend my 28s out. Make kind of like a T with the staples down the middle. Cut it a little shorter. So basically I leave like 1 inch coming out, because that's what goes into my drill, just like that. Alright. So that's practically prepped the way I like it. Now, if you watch my live shows, you know I fucking love these things. These clips. I also use these hair clips for stuff. Let me find one. I've been using these a lot. I found out a couple more uses of these I'm going to be sharing. Basically, for staggering wire, it also works pretty good to use these. And I cannot find one of my hair clips. I was just using it. There's one. So I got these hair clips, and I just put masking tape on either side. One time I'll show you guys how I do that. It's fairly easy. I just put masking tape on it. So I get my clip. Down here. You can use 1 or 2. One's all you really need. And it basically just holds them 28s on the side. Because you do pull this 42 pretty tight. So it can mess up where the 28's sitting if you're not careful. Something you definitely got to watch out for. Alright. I get that there. And make sure all this is good down where it's going into my drill, and I'm going to hot glue this 28 onto these coils. I only hot glue this side. I don't hot glue both sides. The wire needs somewhere to go when you're tightening it up when you're fusing, or it's going to make humps. So I only hot glue one side. That's going to be the drill side. So I just dab it all over there, right over my T. As it's drying, I'm going to take my ceramics, make sure my 28's staying on either side of it. Alright. Alright, let me show you guys a macro shot of this. Then we'll get it into the drill and start wrapping it. There it is, 28 as the frames, and I Claptoned it with 36. I'm sorry, I didn't see that question. 36 over 8 pieces of ribbon. Hearts are flying. Good, good, good. There's my binds. Thank you. All right. So now, actually I'll leave that off for now. I gotta get this, both them loops right over that swivel. Get my drill. Get my build centered in there. My 28s are coming out of my chuck. The staple is going right down the center of my chuck inside. You just want to get it as centered as possible, but still not mess up your build. Make sure your 28's staying where you want it to stay. On the sides. Clip my swivel. All right. Pure Atomist changed their 500-foot spools to bigger spools. I think it's because it's easier to do a dual spool Clapton with the bigger spools. I believe that's why they did it. I don't know. So far, I don't know if I care either way. I like the smaller spools. It's going to be easier for me to find my 40 gauge. Sometimes I'm always looking for my 40, but now I just look for the big spools, and there they are. Alright. So I just gotta open up this 42. Alright, 42 is very thin. That's why it works so good for this. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to Clapton this and get it to fall right into them grooves where the 36 is made. I'll go close up and show you. Tension's key when you're working with this, and speed helps a lot. Going slow isn't good for this build. The faster you go, more likely, if you're keeping the right angle, the better off you're going to be. Let me plug in my other light real quick. There you go. Alright. Light is very important when you're building. You could use magnifying glasses with this. It's not necessarily needed. You just look for patterns. Alright. So I'm going to take my 42. Wrap it around one of the 28s coming out. Make sure my drill's in the same direction I did my 36. I'm just going to start slow, and what you're really looking for here is for your 28 to stay straight onto the sides of your staple stack. If you get it started good, you're going to have a better result going down this wire. I go down like a 1/4 inch, press it down, I go down another 1/4 inch, press it down. So 28 is very flimsy, so you definitely got to watch in the beginning here. I'm actually thinking about using my hair clip. I've had more success with my hair clip on this build. You could also use ribbon wire and bind it up like that. I've always had more success with these on the groove fused. So let me make sure I'm getting it proper here, and then I'll show you close up. Don't be afraid to go backwards if something doesn't look right. You're just looking for a pattern here. Looks like I nicked my 28 a little bit here. Somehow. So far so good. Let me move this one more time. That down there. I'm at one of my 40 gauge wraps. So I gotta take that out. That's why you leave it a little long, so you can just untwist it off. This angle is so important. The 90-degree angle coming into the wire is very important when you're doing this. That and a bit of tension. Not too much to where the 42 is going to snap, but the tension so it falls into them grooves is so important. Let me get... Damn it. Come on, work with me. So I'm falling right into them grooves there with the 42. Let's see if I could show you this real quick. There you go. And that's why it's called a groove fuse. So the 90-degree angle and the tension is key here. And just making sure that, because this 28 easily makes a triangle if you're not careful. You really got to watch it. It could be a real pain in the ass. That's the only reason why I would say 26 would be better, because 26 has more of a backbone to it. But if you're careful, you move this just little by little. You'll be alright. Once you get it started, it's between keeping it flat and recognizing when it wants to start going out of whack, the 28. Once you get the angle on the tension, that's really all you got to watch out for, is that 28. Or them frames trying to make a triangle. Just 1 second, I dropped my spool a bit. Of course, it wrapped up on me. Gotta untwist it. 42 is a lot of fun to play with, let me tell you. 42 is literally the same size as an average human's hair. Between 40 and 42. 40, 42, and 44. Alright, I'm up to another piece of my 40 gauge wraps. I'm about done one coil. So I'm going to try to bang out this second one as quickly as I can. Keep this video time down because I think I may wrap it and install it. I do have an RDA cleaned out and ready. If you're making big spaces in it, it means your angle is too big. You got to make it closer to a 90. If you keep running over yourself, that means your angle's too small. And just finding the perfect tension to where you're not snapping the 42, but you're getting it to tightly fall into them gaps. I can't say it enough about the tension and the angle with these groove fuses. Alright, I'm up to the last 40 gauge bind. So the key is in the beginning, get yourself a nice section so you can see what the pattern looks like when it's made. This way when you keep going, you just keep following that pattern, and whenever you see a break in that pattern, you know you messed up. Alright, now, something else I can't stress more is 42 is just like hair. You do not want to be fingering this all up all crazy. Even the oils on your skin will make it brittle. So you really want to keep your hands off this as much as possible. So I'll show you guys a macro at what it looks like as wire porn, and then we'll wrap it up, get it in an RDA. I'm 7 minutes over an hour now, so that's actually a pretty good time. I like that time. Considering we got to play with bubbles and stuff, that's a good time. Figuring out the camera. So there it is. And I ended up with almost 9 inches of coil, of wire, either way. Anyway. That's what you want to see. This is down near the end. I knew that happened. So that's what you don't want. But I know I was near the end, so that's just going to be in my lead, if that. But I did see that pattern happening. I just didn't want to go back on it and waste time. Got some nice runs of this. I should have 2 nice clean coils. And that's a groove fused frame staple or staggerton, whatever you want to call it. It kind of matches the it matches the specs of both of them, really. Thank you, Brad. Alright. Now, I'm going to get the measurement on this since I want 2 coils. So we'll call it 8.5. So 4 1/4 would be my halfway point. Fucker. How I wrap staple wires is needle noses, my bit or rod or whatever you use to wrap it around. And it's good to have these if you have them. If not, no big deal. Grab the one end of my lead. That's the bit I told you was messed up that I just showed you. With the pattern messed up. So I grab it at the very last part of that mess up point. It's not completely going straight up, it's kind of off to an angle. Just a tad angle. Take my finger and push it over Just push it down. I'm pushing against this and around. Pull back. Grab this, pull. Bring it up. Do the same thing. Push it around. Try not to get your fingers on that 42 too much. Once you got 2 wraps, it's going to be a little easier now that it's anchored in. I'm shooting for 5 wraps here, but I do want to show you something. So when I wrapped it around that first wrap, the 42, you know, they're on the frames. They grabbed each other and it snapped my 42 on that first wrap. So basically I'm going to have to make 6 wraps and take 1 wrap out if I don't want that in my coil. I could probably hide it and nobody would have seen it. See that there? It grabbed and it snapped the 42. That's how delicate it is. Because them frames, they're like little grinders, and when they grab each other, they could do that. So you gotta be careful. Basically when you wrap it, you don't want them touching directly. You want to get them tight, but don't have them touching directly. The bounce back will get it all tight together. So I take this, and now I'm going to make 6 wraps. Alright. And since I want 5, I'm going to take this first wrap out. I put my thumb down on this and pull. Let me see where that fucked up piece is. Alright. Get that fucked up piece all the way out. Pull it. I got my 5 wraps. Bring it down. Straighten this out a bit. This is how I wrap my coils. I make like an L out of it. Just like that. I grab one of them, push it up, and get them on the same plane there. Cut that clean, cut that clean. There's one coil. Time to wrap the second one. Same deal. I don't want them 28s touching as it goes around, or they're going to grab each other and it's going to snap. There's my 5 wraps. Take a look at it, make sure I got it. If there's no mistakes in it, or I can put it in the back if there is. Looks like I got it pretty good though. I made an L out of it. Push this one up, and it's on the same plane. Alright. Here's my coils. Groove fused, 8 ply, 0.4, n.36, 28 frames, 42 fuse. Alright, I'll look at these a little more when I mount them. Yours look nothing like that. Well, practice, practice, practice. You're good, but with my help, you could be the best. Thanks, Andrew. So what I'm putting these in is the icon. I took out the build I had in there for the last 2 weeks. It was vaping great. I fucking love this thing. Get my Twisted Messes box. I'll show you guys how I mount all my coils, especially my pre-made coils. If you ever get pre-mades off of me, this is how I expect people to install them. So this is how the icon looks. It's a 2-post with some humongous offset holes. It's pretty awesome. I still haven't put like a really crazy build in this, but I really want to. Alright. So I don't have to touch this 42 anymore. So, get it on the rod. I get it where I want it. I put the 2 leads in there. Get it in the holes I want it in. I hold it like this. I look at my spacing, make sure everything's good. You could tighten down these screws if you want. Some RDAs you kind of have to. The icon you don't. And I cut this first coil, the leads, exactly where I want them. Alright, then I take that out. I get this one. Put it in the holes that I want it. Get my tool. Tighten it down when I got it where I want it. Alright, make sure I got it where I want it. Put that in there. Pry it over a little center. That's the glory about the icon, is there's like so many ways, so versatile. You could go from far pin to far pin. Most of the builds I've been putting in here are 4-wrap, so I've been going middle to middle. But this one I could also do like the Twisted Messes version 1 style and go from the left holes to the left holes. Alright. then I get the other build that I already cut the leads. Get that. Looks like I gotta cut this one a little more flush. Just gonna bend it up into that post. Now my leads are already pre-cut. Looks like this one's a little further away from the post than this one is. So I don't want to just push it in because then I don't want my leads touching the other coil. So basically I'm going to loosen this one up, pull it out a little bit, and away from the post a little bit more. Alright, that's a bit better. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys know what the ohms are. Oh, and by the way, it was Canthal ribbon that I used. Everything else nichrome. Just the 0.4 ribbon was Canthal. All other wires nichrome. I'll try to put it in the description actually. What's up, Dan? Kind of finishing up now, but that's okay. Alright, let me turn on my Twisted Messes box. Turn down the wattage. Fire button. 0.1 ohm. Yeah, I mixed the wires for a couple reasons. If I would have used all nichrome, this build would have been very low. You would have seen it more like a 0.06. maybe even a 0.05. Another reason is for it's almost like a staged lighting kind of effect. So if you have your ribbons lighting up not as fast as the rest, then they're almost more of a wicking. So it's holding that juice in as the other wires heat up. So most staple builds you'll see, there's mixed ribbon. The ribbon's different from the other wires in it. Just about every frame staple you'll buy is going to be Canthal ribbon and nichrome everything else. It actually just vapes better. It's just better when the wires don't light up exactly right away. But 0.1 ohm, that's awesome. It's a good thing to know. So you would get like 0.08 if you wanted to throw this on a mech. Alright. So I'm going to call this video so I can have an 1.5 hour long video up here. And I'm going to tell you guys to keep watching out for my videos. I'm going to see, it's 10 o'clock now. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night for now. I do have other coils to make, pre-mades to just wrap up and stuff. But, you know, hit the like button on the YouTube. Go check out Instagram, n.devine83, n.devine83. And, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody that came out for the live. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching. Check out the build team, the Resistance Crew on Instagram. If you need wire, go to Pure Atomist. And other than that, thanks, and watch out for more videos. I'm going to really try to just do the same thing and get up like 3 videos a week. That would be pretty fucking awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and tell people. Spread the word. I'm going to try to put a post up on my Instagram now to tell people that the video's up. First video, groove fused. 0.1 ohm build. Dual coil. Alright, so I got 129 here. Peace out, guys.